Hey, YouTubers, Tasman here, bringing you another episode of Taz Teaches Java. And in our last episode, we talked quite a bit about encapsulation. Now, if you've left questions before you see this video is actually kind of being back to back because I kind of have a train of thought that I kind of want to follow for this next part. However, I don't want to wait a whole week to record it. So I'm recording this one back to back. We're going to be talking this time about inheritance. Hold on. Oh, whoops, Control Y. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about inheritance, which is the second important concept there. And so for this, we're going to create a new package again, which will put it under encapsulation. We're going to call it inheritance. Inheritance, right? Discouraged, oh, whoops. Usually I do these as lowercase. As you can see, it said discouraged, blah, blah, blah. Usually package names aren't uppercase like you do with the others. So now we have here this. We're going to actually create, well, before we do that, let's jump to Photoshop really quick and let's just talk about inheritance. So, for example, we have a pet object. Oops, I need to get my pen. Boop, and Control D. So we have a pet object, and we're not, looks like I only have pink right now. I don't want to mess around setting everything up. So we have our object here, and let's just say it's a pet. Or maybe we should, I don't know, hold on. Let's do this real quick. Just to make it a proper object, we're going to make the first letter uppercase, all the rest will be, oh, that was lowercase. Okay, so here we have a pet. Let's go fix you just a little bit. Boop. And an E and a T. So this is our object pet. Now, any pet can do various things. One, a pet would probably have a name, right? It has an age. It has, some methods to it too, where it can eat and sleep, for example. Eat and sleep. And we'll just call these methods by putting parentheses around them. So those are kind of our verbs. Now, inheritance says that, okay, well, we have a pet, but inheritance says, but I can have different types of pets. So down here, we might have 3 types of pets. So we might have something like let's say a fish, F-I-S-H. Right? So we have a fish object or a fish, class or object that can do different things. For example, a fish can, let's just say, for sake of argument, we're going to say a dog can't swim or something, but let's say a fish, for example, can dive. Right? That's one thing a fish can do that we'll say, well, dog, maybe they can dive a little bit, but not a lot. So maybe that's just one of their big things. So even though the fish, it inherits the the attributes of the pet, but it also has its own attributes. I don't know, what else could we say as a fish? Let's just do one each for now. And let's say for a dog, let's just say a dog is our other one. So we have a dog thing here, and a dog can fetch, right? And then let's say our final one here is a bird. And a thing that a bird can do that a dog can't, and a fish can't, well, some fish might be able to, there's flying fish, but let's say fly. So, as you see here, we have 3 individual, very distinct types of pets here, and they all inherit the main attributes of a pet, because a dog, a fish, and a bird can have a name. They definitely have an age. They can all eat and they can all sleep. But they have their own things, where a bird doesn't necessarily fetch, a dog doesn't necessarily dive, a bird doesn't dive necessarily, a fish doesn't fetch, and a fish doesn't fly. and a bird doesn't die, you know, so on and so forth. So these are all individual things. So this is what inheritance is. It says that the fish can have whatever's in here, but it can't have what's down in here or what's down in here. It only inherits from the superclass is what they call it. So let's go look at this really quick in the actual programming aspect to see how that kind of looks. So what we're going to do is, let's say we're going to have a new class, and we're going to call this pet, right? So we're going to have a pet class. We're going to want to have a fish class, right? Class and fish, and you can't see the top of that, sorry, but there's nothing up there anyway. So we have a fish class, we have a new class, and this is a dog. And let's do a final new one. Actually, we're going to want two more. We're going to have a bird, and then maybe we'll have the owner class, the actual person who owns it. Maybe we'll call it pet, O-W-N-E-R, owner. And there we go. So as we were saying in our example here, let's just use these: name, age, eat, and sleep, right? So all these things can do those. So let's go ahead and go back into this. So in our pet class, what we're going to do is we're going to set up some variables called private, because we don't want this being changed easily directly. We want to control it. So we're going to say private string name, and then we're going to do private int age. Int is integer, and we'll go over all that sooner or later. Okay, so those are the things. Now we had some specific things that we wanted to say. They can eat, right? So we're going to say public. Let's see, are we going to return anything with an eat? No, we're just going to tell it to eat. So let's do a void, because it's not going to return anything, and we'll say eat and do some parentheses. I don't think we need to pass it anything either. So we have that where we will tell our thing to eat, right? And then we'll have another one. Once again, I don't think we need to have it return or send anything. Like if we were thinking it was a Tamagotchi, then, you know, those little digital pet things you can feed and stuff, we might want to keep track of if it's tired and stuff like that, which we can all do with these different things. And maybe we should, let's do hunger. Let's do a private private, let's see, this is hunger, so this will be, let's do an integer and HUNGRLEVEL, something like that. So we don't want, we really don't want people being able to set the hunger level directly, right? And tired level maybe, int T-I-R-E, tired level. Oops, hey, that was actually good. I messed up, but I hit it right. So there's our tired level and hunger level. So for example, you know, we could say when we tell the fish to eat, let's say the hunger level when it starts is like 5, right? And so when you first get this pet, it was kind of not really taken care of a lot in the store or whatever. So it's a little bit hungry, and it's definitely a little bit tired. It wants to eat and sleep. We could even do play or something like, I don't know. So we might want to change those. But the only way we can do that is by our things. So here we could say when we tell it to eat, we could say int, or not int, I want to say This is eat, so hunger level equals 10, which means he's not hungry at all anymore. And we'll do the same thing here. T-I-R-E, tired level equals 10. So our 109, really not hungry. So there we go. So this is just a really quick thing. Of course, we might want some getters and setters. So we can go in here. Now, I don't want people to be able to set this. I want them to get the hunger level and the tired level. So we're going to do that with this because it's much quicker to say generate getters and setters. We want them to be able to, yeah, they can get and set the age. They can get, but not set the hunger level. They can get and set the name, and they can get the tired level. So by doing this, it's going to generate all those for me, and you can see get name, get age, set age, get hunger level, get tired level, and that's it. So there's our pet class. Now, like we were saying, different types of pets have different types of attributes. So if we come in here to fish, we could say private. Now, one thing we need to do is we need to let Java know that it inherits from this guy. So we need to say it inherits from pet. And the way you do that is you simply say extends, E-X-T-E-N-D-S. So it's extending from pet. And this will make it so now when I create a fish, I'll also be able to see all these same attributes in here as well as if they're in here. So it's kind of allowing us to copy everything to each of these other ones. And we'll need to extend both bird and dog also. So private fish, let's do, let's see, let's do private, what should we say? This was dive, actually, yeah, this will be public because we can tell them to swim. P-R-I-V-A-T-E, private. I just said it's public and then I type private. P-U-B-L-I, public. And let's say, is this going to return anything? Let's say, just thinking real quick. No, we won't have this return anything. We'll call this dive. And we don't need to send it anything. So what we're going to want to do is maybe, for example, keep track of, let's do P-R-I-V-A-T, private, and this is going to be a private integer, and let's call it how deep. How deep our fish currently is, if we have a really deep fish tank in feet. So let's say when we start, the fish is on the surface, or maybe let's not put it on the surface, that sounds dead. Let's just put it, you know, maybe 1 inch underwater or something, I don't know. So how deep is inch? So if we tell it to dive, we can say how deep equals how deep, and then +1. Okay, so when we tell it to dive, it's actually going to do that. But now we want to be able to get how deep the fish is. We don't want to be able to set this. We just want to get it, because this is going to do that. And maybe we could even do a surface. Let's do C and V and do S-U-R-F-A-C-E, surface, and that will be a -1. Oops, minus is the other guy. There we go. So we have -1, so he'll be able to go up and down. Now, there's a lot of errors in this where you could actually have the fish go above the water and it actually hits -1, -2, which would, but we're not going to worry about that. So let's go ahead. We're going to do our source here. We're going to do a setter and getter right there. And we don't want them to be able to set how deep it is. It's automatically set. We only want them to be able to get how deep the fish is. So there we go. There's our get how deep on our fish. Want to do the same type of thing with the dog. We need to E-X-T-E-N-D, extend pet, like so. And let's see, with the dog we're fetching, right? Oh, extends pet. Fetch. I don't know how we can keep track of. Maybe the dog got a stick, or how many sticks. So how many? And of course that's our variable. So let's do privat private, and it is an integer. And to begin with, our dog doesn't have any sticks. So let's say 0. Okay, and then we will want to be able to get this variable. So let's go ahead and set a getter. Getters and setters, how many, and we only want to be able to get it. Now, they're not going to return any, you know, this is how many sticks they brought us in total in their lifetime. So it's going to start with 0, and every time we tell it to go fetch, it's going to add into that. So we're going to do a public public, and this will be a public int. Did I need to, let me just check real quick. I think this needs, no, that one doesn't need to. Actually, this one doesn't need to either, because we can always check how many right there. So let's say void and fetch fetch, and this, there we go. So this is simply going to say how many, and another way of writing that, how many equals how many plus 1, we can just say how many plus plus, and that's basically saying the exact same thing. This will increment it by 1. It's just a quicker way to do it. And then with our bird class, let's set privat private. We set that as private, right? Yep, private int. This will be a private int, and we're going to say how high. How high? Whoops, high. And when we get the bird, it's, there's no height. It's on whatever, it's on its perch. So we're going to want to go ahead and make it so they can get how the current height is, just like that. And then we can call fly, right? So let's do public void, because we're not returning anything, and fly, we're not receiving anything, and there, and we'll just do how high and plus plus. Perfect. So this pretty much sets up our pet to do everything we wanted it to do. I mean, it's not real advanced, but that's okay. So now we have our pet owner. So what we need to do is create, or we need to do this first, main, because all programs have a main, and we'll go over that later. But now let's just quickly check in here and create our objects. Let's create a bird. Let's see, so we're going to create a bird, B-I-R-D. We're going to create a bird, and it will be named Tweety, maybe. Bird, T-W-E-E-T-Y. Tweety equals new bird. And there we go. We're also going to create maybe a fish called, what, flounder maybe? So do fish, and let's call him F-L-O-U-N-D-E-R, flounder, equals new fish. And finally we'll call, let's see, let's do a dog. Actually, I'm going to call 2 dogs because I wanted to explain or show one kind of thing about, I don't know, we'll just do one. The thing is, if I call multiple dog objects, because it's actually a variable of a type fish, which means I can have another fish named Guppy or whatever I want, and when I tell Guppy to dive, Flounder is not going to change. Flounder gets basically a copy of everything here and what it's inherited as its own object. So let's go ahead and do a dog right here, and then let's call this one, what's one I haven't used yet? Fluffy. Fluffy. equals new, oops, dog. Okay, so now we have our different animals. Now, remember, we can actually set their names. We can set their names and set their age. We don't have to, but we can't set their height, or their how, whatever the how is. So, oops, that was the wrong thing. So let's say, I guess I didn't need there. Well, I guess we could do that. So let's go ahead and set their names just to what they are in the thing, except they'll have an uppercase first letter. So we'll say Tweety dot, and we want to set its name. Oops. Dot set. Wait, Tweety. That's not right. Tweety, which is a void. Dot set. Didn't we do a set name? Or maybe I did do this wrong. Oh man, I hope I didn't do it wrong. Do I do it? No, I did that right. Fish. Oh, bird. I didn't extend it yet. So that's why it wasn't showing me the set name, because I didn't EXTENDS. You guys are probably yelling at me too. Pet. There we go. That will fix it. Now if we go back to pet owner and we try and do set, we should see, there we go, set name. And we're going to set the name to be Tweety. T-W-E-T-Y. Okay, so there's Tweety. Let's go ahead and do the, we won't, oops, I didn't close out my thing quite right. So there's Tweety. I'm not going to set their other names. I just want to show you that we can set it. We already did something like that. Now let's say, for example, we want Tweety to tell us how high it is. So we could go TWE, right? Tweety dot get how high, because it's a bird. And let's go ahead and put that in a print statement just so that we get an output. And then we're going to tell Tweety to fly. So let's see, Tweety, let's do SOUT. There we go. Now we can get rid of you and you, and we should be good to go. So we're going to have Tweety tell us how high he is. Then maybe we'll have him fly up 2 times. So TWE Tweety dot fly, right? And then let's just do that twice, which will make him go up to 2 and V, and then do C and a V. So if we run this now, we'll get that Tweety, in fact, let's have it say the name. Let's have it do this. Let's say TWET Tweety dot get name, because we're accessing the get name from the inheritance, and we can say plus and another plus there, and then in here we can say, let's see, so Tweety, it'll say Tweety is, let's see, is at a, whoops, at, whoa, what the heck was that? Control Z. Tweety is at a HEIG height of, and then it should tell us how high. So let's go ahead and copy that and say C and V. I kind of want to do the, I mean, we could do land on here also, but since we already set it up for the fish, I wanted to do the fish specifically. So let's go ahead and say, what was his name? Flounder. Flounder. Nope, not flavor table. I don't know what that is. Flounder is the fish right there. Dot. And we don't care about his name, so let's go ahead and we will have him output his get how deep, right? Yeah, get how deep. Then we'll have him dive down like 3, and then we'll have him go ahead and resurface. So let's do get how deep. We need to stick this in a S out like so. Delete, delete, and parentheses semicolon like that. So that will tell us how deep flounder is gone. Control C, and let's do there and there. So we're gonna have him dive, F-L-U-N-D, flounder dot dive like that, and not flunder, flounder, F-L-O-U-N-D-E-R. Okay, so we're gonna have him dive, see, maybe down, that should put him like at 4. Okay, now 5. And then we'll have him surface, because we had that as the other one, right? We could come here, get rid of U, and type .su, there's surface. And we'll have him surface maybe 2. C, oops, and B. Okay, and then we're gonna output that. So this is kind of just showing you how to access those components, but the only one we're really using the inheritance on is this guy right here. But I want to change that with the dog, so we're going to actually come in here and say Fluffy, and let's see, Fluffy dot, so what do we want to do with Fluffy? We want him to output how hungry he is, so get hunger level, right? And we need to S out this, do that, and oops, do that. So we're going to see that our dog is a hunger level of 5, and then we're going to tell him to eat, which is our inherited thing. So we're going to say FLU Floofy. Yes, Floofy is a dog, and we're going to tell him to eat, and then we're going to output his hunger level again. Now we might want to, just to make these a little more clear, we're going to say, let's see, let's do, here is my HUNGRLEVEL, and a space in that, and then a plus, whoops, the other kind of plus. So just so we can see individually what ones we're talking about here, and V, and maybe here for flounder, because he doesn't have a name, let's just say I am at, and then the number, which is how deep he is, plus, and then append onto that, and let's just say inches. INCHES deep. Okay, so we'll do that, and then we're going to copy this and just put them in the others, just so it's a little more clear. So which numbers we're seeing. In other words, you're just going to see numbers. And we could even, like when we're doing this, we could tell them, we could say, oh, I'm diving, I'm diving, I'm diving, you know, and have it report each time how deep he's gone. But we just want to do that. Okay, so this should all be good to go. I don't think we have any errors. This is that flow table. It automatically put that in there. I think we're good. So let's go ahead and run this, and we should be able to see our inheritance in action. Oh, we have to save first. All right, so if we go here to console, you can see Tweety is at a height, and you notice it actually says Tweety because that's the name we assigned him, is at a height of 0. We told him to fly twice, which now he's at a height of 2. Then we have the fishy dude, and he is at 1 inches deep. Then he dove down, what was it, 5 more inches, so now he's at 6 inches. He swam up because he surfaced for 2 inches, so now he's at 4 inches. And then here's our dog. Here's my hunger level 5. We fed our dog. Here's my hunger level 10. So even though everything is part of the pet class, they're all individual. If we went and just had the, if we went here and we told the fish Here is, let's see, here is flounders. Flounders, flounders hunger level, and we'll set this to flounder. You'll see that even though we changed the value here, like I said, and this is the important thing, is that their instances are all their own. So even though we changed the hunger level here for Fluffy, Flounder's hunger level will still be at 5. So if we run this, you'll see that the dog's hunger level is now at 10 because he ate. However, the Flounder's hunger level is still at 5 because we never fed him. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of inheritance. We kind of even went a little further, you know, on accessing the classes and stuff like that. But it'll all make a lot of sense as time goes on. We could also make them sleep and set their age. We could even make it, you know, that based off of the date, you could age them up a certain amount. But anyway, like I said, hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully it made sense to you. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Aside from that, comment, like, and subscribe. Comment, like, and subscribe. If you're lost on anything, feel free to comment. I've said it before, but when you're recording and trying to teach something and you're trying to, you know, you get flustered a lot. You might make typos or things like that. So if there's any questions you might have, feel free to leave comments and ask me, hey, I'm not sure what this did. Can you please explain it? And I'll definitely explain it the best I can. But that's kind of inheritance in a nutshell. I think I said everything else. So that's it. Until next time, I'll be seeing you later. Bye.